I'm Tracy Mosley. I'm here in Malaga, enjoying the sunshine in Spain, getting in some training before the 2012 season. 2012 is going to be a new year and a new venture for me, starting off with Timo Racing. After 15 years of racing on the World Cup downhill circuit and having achieved all the goals I set out to do, World Champion and World Cup Champion twice, I felt that it was a time in my career where I had no more goals left in downhill, and I was really starting to enjoy the other aspects of racing. I was enjoying the fitness side of things and really enjoying the new Enduro racing that's now kind of really taking on board. So for me it was an easy choice to decide to mix up my racing and not entirely focus on just downhill. So in 2012 I'll be racing a few downhill World Cups, but not the entire season. A selection of UK Enduro races and also Enduro races in France and across Europe, and also some cross-country World Cups, which will be an interesting experience, but also for the pro sprint that the cross-country races are bringing into the UCI in 2012. So it's going to be a complete mix of racing, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to carry on working with Trek after their great 3 years of backing me on the Trek World Racing team. So for me it won't be a change of bikes, which is a good thing, but just a change of other sponsors that are helping me out in 2012. Timo Racing is something I set up for this year, and it's purely just for me. There's no one else on the team. It's an opportunity for me to take on the new events that I wanted to do. There is a possibility, I guess, in the future that if things take off and the sponsors want to increase the team, then maybe I could either be joined by some people or could maybe take on the role as a team manager in the future. But at the moment, that's something I've not considered, and I'm just taking 1 year at a time to see, firstly, how I get on at these different events, to make sure I'm still enjoying it, to make sure I'm still successful, and I'm doing everything that sponsors want to keep sponsoring me. So at the moment, it will just be myself, supported by obviously Trek Bikes again in 2012. I think it's a really exciting time at the moment for the sport of enduro mountain biking. It's really taken off, and the development of the sport across the whole of Europe and across the world is getting massive. From Mega Avalanche has been around for years, but there's so many new events springing up across Europe, with people really wanting to get involved in the enduro scene. So I think for the UCI to take hold of it was only ever going to happen as the sport increases in popularity. And I think in some ways it can be a good thing, because it will only increase the profile, will give pro riders more of an opportunity to focus on enduro just as the only discipline, rather than having to complement it with other races. So I think as a sport it could be a very exciting future, and hopefully with the UCI backing it, it will only be a benefit, and will help the sport grow, increase the sponsors available, increase prize money. At the same time, I hope they can keep the original roots of enduro racing, where it is a fun, good atmosphere. It doesn't have the same structure as cross country or downhill, which keeps it, I think, some of the enjoyment in there. So hopefully those guys at the UCI will try and save all those values of enduro and only increase it for the benefit of the riders and keep the fun there. I think at this stage in my mountain bike career, if I had to choose just one mountain bike discipline, having had the success I've had in downhill, that I could leave the downhill racing and the buzz that I get from that behind, and choose enduro, purely because the bike that you can race on, you can also ride uphill, downhill. You can really have a perfect day out on your bike. You're not restricted by the equipment, and you can pretty much ride the bikes anywhere now. The technology is so good on 5-6 inch travel bikes that you can still rip downhills and hit some good climbs. So that for me would be my perfect bike. The introduction of the DH1 circuit to the downhill season in 2012, I think, will be an interesting one. I'm not sure yet whether the teams have the finances and the sponsorship available to contest more than just the World Cup circuit, and I think it will be interesting to see how many teams can actually do both series be able to travel between them, be able to have the energy to do both. And I still think the World Cup downhill series is still going to be the main one that people want to do well at, and I feel that the DH1 will often kind of get left behind with some of the pro teams. Maybe it's a good thing for the up and coming teams, but I think for pro teams their focus will still always be the UCI World Cup. I think in order to have stayed at the top of the sport for as many years as I have, there's many things I think that you have to sacrifice, and I think the biggest thing is you have to be quite selfish with your time to take on board your training and the rest and the structure that you need to have as a full-time athlete. So I think many of my friends and my family have had to put up a lot with having to live their life kind of through my schedule and my diary. So I think a lot of people definitely sacrifice a lot to be able to help me out, and that's something that I hope when I finish racing I'll be able to return to a slightly more normal life and not have so many constraints when it comes to planning months ahead. My whole diary is normally full from January until September, so it's pretty hard for family and friends to fit in time to see me, which is sometimes tough.